Alright guys, so I just wanted to make a video to kind of state my predictions as to what the GoPro Hero 4 will be like. So there was a lot of different postings on a bunch of different websites about the company that makes the chip for GoPro releasing a new chip, which people speculated would be in the Hero 4. And that chip is capable of 4K at 30 frames per second, which actually makes it watchable rather than the 15 frames per second on the Hero 3, which is really jittery and it's not smooth at all. So not only could it do 4K, but the more important part to people like me anyways who would like to do slow motion for cheap is that it would be able to do 1080p at 120 frames per second, which in itself that's very high speed, but also if you turn that down to 720p, which is still pretty decent quality, it's just not quite as great as 1080p, you get 240 frames per second, which if you turn that down to 30 frames per second playback is 1/8 the speed of real life. And of course you could go beyond that with some smoothing and stuff and it would still look plenty nice. Now that's the part that if you're really interested in the GoPro series you've probably already heard about. Now I just want to offer up my own personal predictions as to what it's going to be like. So first of all, I figured that I would explain why I think that they have the Hero 3 and the Hero 3 Plus running at the same time. Now the reason I think they did that is kind of to get people used to having two different product lines, because what I feel they're going to do is they're going to keep either the Hero 3 or the Hero 3 Plus, probably the 3 Plus, and then they're going to have the Hero 4. So if you don't want that ultra awesome 4K Hero 4 camera, you can get the cheaper Hero 3 Plus. So that's why I think they have the two lines running right now. And then I also think that the Hero 4 would kind of go back to the size of the Hero 2, if not larger. And there's several reasons behind that. I'm not sure if the sensor's any bigger, but I would assume it's probably a little bit bigger. It also needs to disperse a little bit more heat if it's running at twice the frame rate, as well as the processing chip inside. But the bigger issues that I see is recording 4K at 30 frames per second, and the bit rate to the card that you're going to need for that. So if they wanted to make this available to lots of people, it would need to be larger so that it can fit a full-size SD slot. Because in order to record 4K onto a micro SD card, like the Hero 3 and 3 Plus take, you would need some of the fastest micro SD cards that exist, which are really expensive, versus a Class 10 or a Class 10 UHS-1 card, which isn't too expensive and they're pretty common. And another reason that you might want the full-size SD card slot is because higher capacity cards are available in full-size SD than micro SD, obviously just because of the size that they have to work with to put the chip into. So I think they're going to go a little bit bigger so that they can fit the full-size SD card slot into the camera again. And then another reason that I think they would make the camera larger is for the battery life. Now if you've got a 4K sensor running at 30 frames per second, that is obviously going to be sucking down a little bit more power than 4K at 15 frames per second. And just all of the different things involved to make that happen, of course, are going to draw more power. Now, in order for them to maintain any sort of decent lifetime on that, since the Hero 3 Plus apparently already does have some battery trouble from what I've heard, they would really need to make the battery larger in the Hero 4 in order to increase the battery life despite the more power-hungry chips. So I think that they're going to probably almost double the battery size. Now, of course, all of these things are just my predictions, and none of them are to be taken as fact. It's just my opinion, and if you want to go along with it, then go right ahead, but don't quote it as fact. But anyways, guys, that's about all I had to say for this video, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, please do click the like button, as that does help me out. Also, leave me a comment about anything that I did well at or anything that I could have changed. And if you would like to see more of my videos, then please do click subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later.